more surprising weeks in Xbox news that I can think of in a very long time. And clearly Microsoft has a lot of interesting things coming down the pipeline. People tried to, of course, make as much negative out of this as they possibly can. And I found that to be quite hilarious because, no company is going to go through all what they're going through, spending hundreds of billions of dollars and just drop that all on some whim on some date, right? Like people were kind of saying with what Phil Spencer was saying. It's like people don't understand how these companies work. And at the end of the day, I feel like Phil Spencer maybe embellished a little bit when he was, on the stand about, what's going to happen to Xbox should they not actually be able to get Activision. Now we know that they are going to get Activision, so I did find this to be kind of humorous regardless. But anyway, I wanted to get into this little bit of news because this was something that came out and I feel like didn't get enough of play. And you can kind of see why so many people kind of look at Xbox and go, listen, people don't want to see the Xbox Series S, or they bitch about it, they harp about it, they go on and on about the Xbox Series X, how it's this, how it's that, how it's ruining the industry, and how Microsoft sucks and it's holding this back and it's holding that back, and all that stuff is really kind of funny to me because, first of all, when you look at developers and what they're doing, developers are developing games for a multitude of PCs, even potato PCs, right? Like worse than the consoles. So obviously, they know what they're doing. And then when it comes to consoles, you look at people when they say stuff that's held back, and a lot of the times it's PlayStation fans that say that, and you go, well, your biggest games, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Gran Turismo 7, these games were all last gen too. They're cross-gen. Doesn't that hold it back worse than a newer console that's can do a lot of games at 120 frames and things like that? So again, it was always kind of a bunk argument to me, but when you see stuff like this, I really look at this and say this is pretty interesting. So since its release in 2020, the Xbox Series S obviously has been the subject of debate over if it's valuable and things like that, the current hardware generation lineup, just because it's less powerful than the Xbox Series X and PS5. But it turns out Microsoft's $300 Xbox Series S is more popular than the Series X, which I guess should have been known. I've mentioned that numerous times before. We live in this kind of world where we kind of are on a bubble. Like I do a YouTube about video games, and I do social media about video games. We're all in the know, so we know about these things, but the average person doesn't. And so I think that they kind of get away with doing things that maybe others wouldn't. What I mean by that is the average person might have a 1080p TV, have no need for a Series X or a PS5, right? So something just to play the newest games works perfectly fine. So this revelation was spotted in an Xbox court document leak that has taken to the internet by storm. One of the documents focuses on the April 2022 gaming results. It's heavily redacted. One slide shows that the consoles sell in mix. And there's a screenshot. I'm going to link the article so you can check it out as well. The document reveals that almost 75% of Xbox Series owners own the Series S, with the Xbox Series X at 25%. As mentioned, these numbers are early 2022, so it could have changed by then. And they also updated this a little bit as well, pointing out that while they don't know exactly what period these documents refer to, April 2022 sales alone, quarter to date or year to date, they're emblematic of a greater trend. According to this, according to Circona, which is also former NPD, it looks like IGN and their firms estimate the current split between Series X and S is closer to 50-50 overall, with the S having a slight lead over the X. So again, they're saying for this particular time period, it looks like the S was more popular, but overall, S and X are at, pretty much a 50-50 split, which makes a lot of sense. Now, I've said this multiple times before as well. We live in a day and age where people can be impulse buyers. We also live in a day and age where we're dealing with inflation. We're dealing with all different kinds of things. And, picking up a cheaper console to play your games or play Game Pass makes a lot of sense. So, to me, it never made much sense for like an average person, like all the kids in my house have a Series S. You cheap, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Listen, they're kids. They have 1080p TVs. They don't need $550 high-end game systems. They want to play their Fortnites and they want to play their, Roblox or what have you. They can play those perfectly fine on, a Series S. They don't need something that like what I do. That they haven't been gaming as long as I have. Later on in life, when they want to buy themselves the best they can. That's what jobs are for. That's what, all that kind of stuff is for. So for me, I look at this and I say, it doesn't really surprise me that the Series S is popular. And could you imagine, let's just say, for instance, there's 26 million Xbox Series consoles sold. So, you figure 13 million are X, 13 million are S. Now, let me ask you this. If you take away the S, that would leave 13 million consoles sold. That would be a considerable failure, right? No wonder PlayStation fanboys want there not to be an S console, right? I don't think it has anything to do with being held back. I think they just want to go, hey, look at this, lord these numbers over everybody. We've got, 40 million PS5s against 13 million Series X's. Like, that sounds a lot better than 40 million to 26 million, right? It does. The split seems surprising at first glance a little bit, given the power of the Xbox Series S. It's designed to normally render games between 1080p and 1440p and 60 frames. There's a lack of 4K gaming and no disk drive. It should not entirely be surprising that consumers have kind of flocked to it. The Series S is the most affordable console out of the 3 home systems available in the 9th generation of gaming. $299. Sometimes you can get it for $249 or even $199 around the holidays. And then, of course, they have the $349 1TB model. The S is a console capable of playing next-gen games like Starfield, even if not at the highest graphical settings. It's an appealing pitch to people who care more about the games and less about peak performance. We have to remember that people like me and you, probably, if you're watching this video, care greatly about, some of this stuff, right? But the average person, they don't give a damn about any of this stuff. They just want to be able to play the game. And I think that's amazing. Like, there was a time when I was younger, I didn't care. I never cared about this. Like, when I was picking up a Dreamcast, right? The Dreamcast was the first console that I bought myself with my own money. Was very excited about it and stuff like that. Interesting thing was, though, actually at that particular time, I picked up a Nintendo 64 on sale after that. So I had a Dreamcast and I had a Nintendo 64 around the same time. I know the Nintendo 64 came out a little bit earlier than that, but for me personally, I had the Dreamcast. I loved it. I had the N64. I liked it. I was playing the Nintendo exclusives on it at that time, and it was such a good console. And at the same time, when I look at how things have changed over the years, I never once was like, oh man, well, this one only has this amount of this or that. It's just it's so ridiculous how the Xbox One era almost ruined gaming for me, because everybody was so obsessed with some of these ridiculous things. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Are you guys happy with the Series S? If you have one, look, there's 4 different Series S's in this house. So, people are happy with it. I'm curious if you guys are, though. Let me know. Rack 'em up. I'm Crap Gamer. This is Crap Gamer Reviews. Peace.